Hello, everyone. I am John Paul M. Larosa, and this is my partner speaker.
Mark Evans Timumar.
And us here and our fellow guests here are analyzing a manga turned to a film with the same name called A Silent Voice. So may put a background on the manga itself. It is written by Yoshitoki Oima, also illustrated by this author. And it's released in August 7, 2013. Now I'll let my partner speaker introduce the film.
For the film, still the same. It was called A Silent Voice, which was directed by Naoko Yamada and is produced by Kyoto Animation. The film was released on September 17, 2016 in Japan.
Mark, let's have a quick rundown of A Silent Voice first before comparing the manga and the film. It all started right where Shoya Ishida was introduced by showing himself as isolated, like he's overwhelmed with guilt, right?
Yes.
And he's trying to recall his childhood that led him to his current state of overwhelming guilt. Do you remember why that happened, right? His flashback, right?
Yeah, I think I remember it was time when they were in elementary. Yeah, I think that was it. Where he met Shoko Nishimiya, which is a deaf girl, a new transferee in Shoya's class. At first,
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember that all of them were completely curious, but when they soon found out that she was deaf, they started to mock her, pull pranks on her, and call her names. And yeah, even though I think it was Miyoko, I think, when she tries to befriend Shoko, but then she's discouraged and eventually changes schools. And I think when the school authorities confronted the bullying because of its, I think it was really uh, bad for Shoko. I think that's why I think it was a time where Shoya was scapegoated by his classmates. I think it was Ueno and Kawai, which they denied the involvement of bullying. And after I think it was because of the bullying, it's when Shoko transferred schools. And then after that, Shoya becomes the new target of the bullying and was ostracized by his classmates and the other people. And I think that's where it started, where Shoya started to feel the guilt because of what he did. And now it significantly impact his life. And I think that was yeah, that's what I remember during the flashback in elementary school.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Those two characters that you mentioned are going to be very important in the story, right? Kawai and Ueno,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
since they're the ones who are so vocal about the bullying of Shoko.
Hmm.
Now after that big flashback because of Shoya's mistake. Of course, it's still Shoya's mistake, Jun, that he bullied Shoko, but it's just encouraged most by his friend group, and he got scapegoated because of it. Now, let's go back to the present part, since the movie and manga turns into the present, where it shows him now in his current state of isolation. Now, this is the good symbolization of the movie and manga. You know the X, right, where it covers the faces in the point of view of Shoya.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's really a good. That's really a good sign that he feels isolated, that he has no friends, right?
Yes,
And
it showed that it just symbolizes that he started to disconnect with lots of people, and like it showed that he has no connection towards other people, right?
yeah, yeah. Then because of that, then he tries to sell his things, quit his job. Even his mother notices that, and then even starts with a very lecture where she, to the point where she started to cry. Why did her son try to kill herself? Something like that. Because of this revelation and this lecture, now he tries to rebuild his life by trying to reconnect with Choco. So he learns sign language, a little sign language, and has the notebook that he got from Shoko, then tries to connect with Shoko by finding her. Of course, Shoko was very reluctant. Was very reluctant. She even tried to run away when seeing Shoya again. And then he started building new connections, like a friend who was very like broccoli like hair. His name is Tomohiro, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And
Tomohiro.
even Shoko's little sister, which is Yuzuru. If I think that's her name.
Yeah, it's Yuzuru.
Oh yes. Now, what happens after that? Because I think Shoya tries to rebuild his friend group, right? Because he's trying to redeem himself as a better person, right?
Yeah.
So that's why he tries to reconcile with his friends. How did that go again?
Let's see if I remember correctly. I think it was when I'm not entirely sure if I remember correctly, but when it was rebuilding, I guess first it was when Shoya helped Shoko first reconnect with Sahara, who genuinely missed her and feels guilty for leaving. And next, I think it was Ueno that showed up again in Shoya's life, which still clearly harboring feelings for him. And then she remains toward she remained hostile towards Shoko and blames her for Shoya's suffering. And next for Kawai, although in the same school, yeah, she pretends innocence but remains manipulative and refuses to admit her past faults. But this is despite the tension, Shoya slowly forms a friend group again, including these people from his past. And if I remember correctly, it was when it's when the next part of it is where Shoko gives Shoya a gift, and you remember that she verbally confesses her love, right? But
Yeah.
Shoya misheard the word Suki, and which means love, by the way, and doesn't understand. So, hoping to strengthen their friendships, it was where Shoya invited the group to an amusement park, and at the park, I think it was where Ueno becomes jealous and angry. Then she later slapped Shoko, accusing her of ruining Shoya's life, and everything was secretly recorded by Yuzuru, which is Shoko's little sister, and that's where tensions started exploding. The next day, where Kawai publicly reveals Shoya's history as a bully to try to save her own image, and that's where the group falls apart. And there, it happened again, where Shoya was overwhelmed and felt like he failed, in which he started isolating himself again.
All right. I think because of that, Shoko blames herself now. Because at first it was Shoya blaming himself. Now, because of he's trying to build himself that it failed at the end, now it's Shoko blaming herself because of this. Because of the firework festival happening, she tries to jump. Like she was on top of the apartment building, then she tries to jump.
Oh yeah.
Shoya, thankfully, was there on time to save her, but he fell into the river as a result, then went into a coma. This coma has resulted for them fighting, like Shoya, Ueno, mother of Shoko, and the mother of Shoya was part of that fight too. Where to the point where Shoko was screaming, apologizing while screaming rather. She was crying, even though she cannot really speak. She's trying to apologize, to leap out a word, sorry, to them, because she still blames herself at that time. Thankfully, Shoya wakes up. wakes up from his coma, he really apologizes to, then asks for help to keep living because, of course, he's still feeling down and depressed.
Oh yeah, right.
And now they both meet peace. Now, this is my favorite part. This ending is one of the most beautiful ending scenes
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen in
really
an
the
anime
most
film.
beautiful endings from a anime film that I have seen. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you still remember those X's, right?
Yeah, yeah. The
I
access.
still forgot to mention that the X also showed up on Ueno. He even civilizes, he's even isolated from his own friend group to the people he knows, right?
Oh yeah.
Like every stranger and even his friend Ueno has the X on their face.
Hmm.
Now, because Shoya accepted himself as a person now, because he feels like he redeemed himself because of his hard work, trying to
Yeah.
redeem himself, and it succeeded. Now that X's are falling apart, now there's no X's on their faces, and Shoya was crying, realizing that he was never alone in the first place. Like that
Yeah.
scene is so nice.
It
Like
was like he finally accepted himself, and it really from the film it really conveyed his true emotions, right? Especially since
yeah,
it was animated, and it's really one of the best endings for an anime movie, and it was really good, and it really made me
yeah,
emotional while watching the ending because it was really a nice ending for the anime adaptation. Yeah.
really nice about it too because at first you may think it's a movie about the relationship of Shoko and Shoya,
Yeah.
but no, it is not. It is really about Shoya himself.
Yeah.
It is a story about a man trying to accept himself back into society.
Hmm.
Like that is such good writing
Yeah.
and good directing. Good writing in the manga and directing in the movie.
It was really a good adaptation. I'm really glad that they made it into an anime, and it really showed uh what the author really meant in the anime, I think. Yeah, it really showed
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what he really wanted the viewers to see through the anime. It was really good.
Mm, yes. Mm. I think that's it for the rundown.
Hmm.
And let's talk about the differences next.
Okay, so now let's give the floor to our guest. So, guys, what medium do you prefer for a silent voice? Is it the manga or the film?
Well, personally, I prefer the manga. Its story goes way deeper than in the film, especially with Shoya's character. His character has more depth in it. You just get more insight about him in the manga.
I get that, but I prefer the film. The animation was stunning, and the music made the emotional scenes hit harder. Cute Animation did an amazing job setting up the mood that the manga wants to convey.
I love the film's visuals and pacing, but the manga gave more closure, like we saw more development from other characters other than Shoya and Shoko.
Exactly. The manga's longer format allowed for better storytelling, to be honest. And in the film, it felt kind of bit rushed and some parts were cut, especially near the ending.
I disagree a little. The film cut some parts, sure, but it stayed powerful. Sometimes, less is more. The silence and visuals told the story in a unique way.
I enjoyed both, but I think the manga is better if you want the full experience. The film is beautiful and emotional, but the manga dives deeper into the theme of forgiveness and redemption.
Fair points all around. Maybe it's not which is better. Maybe it's about how each medium tells the story in its own way. And both did a great job at doing it.
Yeah, it's really great. And I think that's where we wrap things up. It's been so great talking to all of you, especially the guests and you, JP. I'm glad that we got to talk about how different and how great the manga and the film is of A Silent Voice. And I guess we'll wrap things up. And I hope to see you guys soon. And that's it. Thank you for listening for our podcast about the Silent Voice.